Let's go now to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and speak to Benjamin Dixon, host of The Benjamin Dixon Show, joining us today from a moving vehicle. He is not driving, which is good, but he is a passenger in this car, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about that. Ben, let's start with the Biden speech. I find Joe Biden to be a very, very good public speaker. Give me a sense of the reaction to his speech last night.
So, I mean, you either loved it or you poked holes in it. And just the response on the ground, response with the different people, different journalists that were there. A lot of people really felt that it was a great speech. It was a motivating speech. And then I would say about half of the people just saw so many flaws in the things that he was calling out, not just with Joe Biden, but also through the night. Joe Biden and President Obama, the different things that they were calling out, that it felt as though Democrats were guilty of themselves. So it really just depends, honestly, David, on what side of the debate you fall on. The ongoing debate between, the progressives and moderate Democrats.
When you big picture it and compare Republican National Convention Day 3 to Democratic National Convention Day 3, my feeling watching it through media was Republican Day 3 was Ted Cruz going up there and saying everything short of don't vote for the candidate. And DNC Day 3 was President Obama and Hillary Clinton's vice presidential running mate, Tim Kaine, as well as Joe Biden and a number of other speakers, even if they were speeches that people did not agree with every sentiment, of totally different mindset in terms of what we saw. Was that the way it felt there as well?
I mean, it's totally different in the sense of what you saw last week. And President Obama actually pointed that out quite effectively. There was just an overwhelming sense of optimism. And again, like you said, despite the differences of opinion, you even had Republicans that came out saying that this was an unbelievable night for Democrats, and how disappointed they were because they believed that the Democrats have been dividing America, and now they can't honestly say that based on everything that happened last night, which was something amazing to see.
Yeah, which Republican said that? I didn't see that.
Eric, I can't think of Eric's last name. I knew Eric Erickson. Yeah, he has an entire thread from Red State. He has an entire thread where he's really lamenting that this was a unifying speech, and they had an opportunity to go up against someone like Hillary Clinton, who's so disliked, but they chose to go with somebody like Donald Trump, and they can't capitalize on it, and so making President Obama and the Democrats look even more unifying than their candidate.
I want to talk in a second about what's coming up today, but before we get to that, there was this big story which we talked about, which blew up, about Donald Trump sort of suggesting that Russia find Hillary Clinton's emails and turn them over. He would be interested. They would be rewarded by the media, etc. Was this, I'm still trying to figure out whether this is a bad thing for Republicans in that it's Trump saying yet another completely insane thing, or is it a victory in that it got attention during the DNC?
I think it depends on where you fall on this issue, right? So it is completely absurd. It's ludicrous for Donald Trump. In a lot of ways, his handlers need to just put a muzzle on him, because if he just shut up for a little while, then the DNC has done enough damage to itself to give them some points. But he can't do that. He's never been able to do that. But then again, I do like the point that you made, that he is bringing light to an issue that almost got pushed under the carpet and into the closet. So I don't know, though, that if it's brought enough attention to warrant his insanity. So it's kind of crazy what he was advocating for on yesterday.
Preview what is being discussed in terms of Hillary Clinton's speech tonight to close out the convention. I mean, I'm sort of curious as to what direction she'll go in terms of how much is Donald Trump discussed? How much is President Obama discussed? How much is her personal history discussed? What kind of recognition do Bernie Sanders supporters get? Those are sort of micro questions, but macro, what's the biggest positive or negative impact that this could have? I mean, can it really move the needle at all?
So we were discussing this last night, whether the bump that John Kerry didn't get after his convention speech, and here Hillary Clinton really does need a bump. Despite all of Donald Trump's shenanigans, he got a bump, and the polls are actually now in his favor. So she has to do something to actually make this to come back out of this convention with the necessary bump. Can she do it? I don't know that she's the person that can do that, only because historically she's not been the best speech giver, but she has so much goodwill with the people in that room, and I want to specify the people in that room, that I'm sure they're going to do their best to make it a great speech, even if it doesn't come off as a great speech across the airwaves. A lot of questions around what type of protest there will be. There was the large protest last night. It died down specifically during President Obama's time. We're wondering if there's going to be a large protest tonight, the last night of the convention. So we're going to keep our eyes on that and send you guys any footage that we get.
All right, Benjamin Dixon. Looks like his car right now is being trailed by a biker, and I'm not sure if that's Secret Service providing some extra security for Ben. We know his driver is absolutely doing a fantastic job there. Ben Dixon from the Benjamin Dixon Show. Ben, so
Thanks a
good
lot,
to
David.
talk to you this week. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Take care.